If you're saving money right now, building wealth, trying to create a better life for yourself and your family, you need to hear this. At some point, the people around you will notice. And when they do, some of your closest friends will start acting differently. Family members will show up with expectations you didn't agree to. Relationships you thought were solid will quietly fall apart. It happens to almost everyone who starts doing well financially. But it doesn't have to happen to you. Because the people who keep both their money and their relationships know something most people never figure out. They've learned how to balance wealth and the people in their lives. And in this video, you're going to learn exactly how they do it, so you don't end up building wealth, but losing your friends and family in the process. Most conversations about money and relationships either warn you that everyone will betray you or tell you to be generous and it'll work out. One is paralyzing. The other is naive. A Boston College study looked at 165 households worth an average of $78 million. Most feared their relationships were based on money, not love. But some had thriving relationships, close families, real friendships. What were they doing differently? That's what this video is about. Not a warning, a playbook. But before we get to the playbook, you need to understand why this happens. Because the forces are invisible, and they pull from both sides. Researchers at the University of Michigan found what they called the status signals paradox. 76% of people said they'd wear designer labels to impress someone new, but 64% of evaluators preferred befriending the person in the Walmart shirt. People don't want to be close to someone who makes them feel inferior, which means the very signals you think attract people are the ones pushing them away. And money changes you too. A study in Science found that simply handling paper bills made people prefer working alone and helping others less. Higher income, less socializing, more time alone, confirmed across 118,000 Americans. The distance isn't just coming from other people. At home, it's sharper still. Financial disagreements are the #1 predictor of divorce. 42% of Americans in relationships have kept a financial secret. Money creates silence, and silence creates distance. And that silence usually starts in the same place, not knowing where your money is actually going. It's hard to have honest conversations about finances when you don't even have an honest picture of your own. That's exactly why we created Wally. You don't need to link your bank account. You just upload a statement or scan a receipt, and it shows you exactly where every dollar went, broken down by category, month by month. It's free to download and free to use. The link is in the description. This doesn't mean your relationships are doomed. It means you're dealing with real psychological forces. And once you see them, you can work with them. That explains the psychology. But it's only half the picture, because when you look at what actually happens to real people, the damage follows a very specific pattern. 3 patterns destroy relationships, and most people walk into all of them. It starts with unstructured lending. 70% of American adults have lent money expecting repayment. Over half say it went badly. 30% never got paid back, and 21% lost the friendship entirely. There's a better way to help the people you love without putting the relationship at risk, and we'll get to it. And once the lending goes wrong, the next problem is already in motion, because now people know you have money. A woman on Reddit inherited a trust fund at 25 and told no one. A friend snooped, told the group, and within weeks they were demanding she pay off their student loans. Another person's best friend quit her job and said, "You can take care of me now." Visible wealth rewrites what people think you owe them. But there are ways to control what people see, and more importantly, what they don't. And when there are no boundaries to contain any of this, the damage compounds fast. 78% of NFL players face financial stress within 2 years of retirement. 60% of NBA players go broke within 5. Not because they spent recklessly, but because they had no system for saying no. That system exists. And it's simpler than you'd think. These aren't cautionary tales about money being bad. They're cautionary tales about money without a plan. And that plan is exactly what comes next. So what do the people who get this right actually do? It's not one thing. It's a progression. Each piece builds on the last. It starts with the conversation itself. When someone asks how much you make, you need a response ready. Financial counselor Grace Pomeroy teaches 2 phrases. The first, why do you want to know? It's not hostile. It just redirects the pressure. The second, that's not a question I'd care to answer. Your finances are personal. You get to decide what, how, and with whom you share them. Once you can deflect the conversation, the next question becomes, what happens when someone actually asks for money? Once you decide to give money to someone you love, call it a gift, not a loan. A loan creates an expectation. An unmet expectation creates resentment. Resentment destroys the relationship. But certified financial therapist Kate Dorman takes it further. Instead of, no, I won't give you money, you say, I'm willing to pay your landlord directly for your rent. Or, I can help you with your resume. You're still helping, in a way that protects both of you. But even with the right framing, saying no to family is hard, which is why wealthy families have used a gatekeeper for generations. Your financial advisor becomes the person who says no. A cousin asks for $50,000. You say, my advisor manages everything. Let me check with them. The advisor denies the request. You didn't have to be the bad guy. It's not dishonest, it's delegation. Once you've handled the conversations, the giving, and the gatekeeping, there's one more layer. Stanley and Danko studied millionaires for decades. 85% were self-made, living in middle-class neighborhoods, never spending $500 on a watch. Morgan Housel captured it perfectly. Wealth is what you don't see. He tells the story of Ronald Reed, a janitor in Vermont who quietly accumulated $8 million. Nobody knew. And that's the principle in practice. Drive a reliable, paid-off car. Share experiences instead of possessions. Resist lifestyle inflation. Not because you're hiding, but because you're protecting what matters. And underneath the stealth sits one final structure. Estate attorneys recommend layering a revocable living trust with an LLC to keep your name off public records. 80% of burglars use social media to identify targets. Privacy isn't secrecy, it's security. Remember the status signals paradox from earlier? Everything in this playbook works with that reality instead of against it. And underneath all of it sits one idea. Kate Dorman said it best. Boundaries are ultimately a form of self-love, as well as an act of love for others. The people who lose everyone aren't the ones who set too many boundaries. They're the ones who set none at all. Money will change your relationships. That's not a maybe, it's a certainty. But change doesn't have to mean destroy. It starts with knowing what to say when someone asks. Then it's knowing how to give without creating expectations. Then it's having someone who can say no for you. And then it's making sure your wealth stays invisible in the first place. None of that is complicated. All of it requires intention. One Reddit user who grew up wealthy put it perfectly. I never really knew why rich people hung out with other rich people. But once you have money, you get a better sense of where you stand with people that don't want anything from you. You don't have to only surround yourself with wealthy people, but you do have to be intentional about how you navigate the ones who know. The wealth you're building deserves protection, and so do the people you love.